it goes. Hi everyone.
Hello everybody and welcome to Mondays Live with the SCC. So Sarah and I are with you today for mindfulness and meditation again. And I know last week we talked a little bit about the differences between mindfulness, meditation, and what all of that means. And so today we thought we're going to just start out kind of slow, figuring out what works best for everybody who tunes in and everybody who watches this, because there are a lot of different things that we can do. I'm sure you all have heard of some of those different things out there, maybe even tried a few yourselves, right? But remember, Sarah, are we turning anybody into hippies?
No.
Because there's a science behind all of the things that we're doing, right? And we'll kind of talk a little bit about these. We have 5 different mindfulness techniques that we thought we'd kind of work through today. So they're very simple. They just take a moment. You can do them different places, just wherever you feel comfortable, but you can try them. And it doesn't even take a really long amount of time, right? To see what works best for you. Maybe you like all 5 of them and you'll put them all in your mindfulness toolbox, right? But 5 moment mindfulness techniques that we're going to give a shot today. So, you want to start with the first one?
Let's go with it.
All right, the first one is one of our favorites, I think. Actually, I just like to make Sarah do
Funny
different
stuff on lives.
Well,
It's okay.
Part of what I do in yoga kind of incorporates this a little bit, because making sound can help us to ground, right? And so the first one does a few different things for us. It's called the yawn and stretch, right? So we're looking at our breath, and we're going to make a little bit of sound. So we're using kind of that intake of breath and then our hearing, and just what it does to us kind of tactily inside as we make those sounds, which I've talked about in yoga before. I even made Sarah do some hot breath stuff, which was really fun. But, I like that idea. Maybe we'll do some different breathwork techniques another time. But we're going to start out slow so I can slowly trick you into the fold of doing different things, right? Starting off slow with just a yawn and stretch. And so, what we're going to start by doing is I want you to yawn. Just make yourself yawn, right? And I'm going to do this with you, but I'll explain it first. You will notice if you are just trying to initiate that yawn, that likely you're probably going to feel it trigger a real yawn. That will likely happen, which is okay. If it doesn't, it's okay, but we would like for that to happen, right? So you're going to bring that breath in, pulling it in with a yawn, and then as you let that breath release, I want you to make a sound. Just an right? Just a release. Nice releasing sound. You like that sound in yoga, haven't you, Sarah?
I loved it.
Yeah, well, it takes a little time to build up to these different things. Sarah's still building up.
Okay, clearly. It's okay.
Right? So let's just practice that part. So the yawn. So let's pull that yawn in. Right? Just let it out. Now, one more time for me. This time, I want you to notice what it feels like. So we're getting comfortable with it, so slow and steady. Open that mouth. Remember, you're in the comfort of wherever you are, right? Probably nobody's looking at you, so there are no judgments. We're being mindful. Judgments are out the window, right? And so, just getting ready to really practice that mindfulness. Simple yawn, right? So let's get it started. Bring that breath in and bring that yawn to happen. Right? So just reflect on that. I want you to notice, did you kind of feel a release happen in your body? Did you notice, at least for that moment, maybe we interrupted some of the thoughts that were happening in your mind? Could have been some judgments, right? It could have been thoughts of things that are going to happen later. You might have been thinking of thoughts of things that happened earlier in the day or yesterday. Did we take a moment just to interrupt that? Did we take a moment just to interrupt any of the feelings that were going on, right? Did we get you out of your head and just into the moment of hanging out in a live video with us, right? Just with that simple yawn. What are you laughing at? I think we're cool to hang out with. But just with that yawn, we brought you back into the present, which is, again, a big key to the mindfulness piece, right? Are we ready to add to it? Did you know there was more?
I didn't know.
There it is. It's called the yawn and the stretch. So we have that breath intake. We're connecting to the sound. Now we're going to connect to the body, right? So,
Oh, yawn.
Now, Sarah, we got a late night. We've got mindfulness with our eating later too. So, but now we're gonna add the stretch with the body, right? So we're gonna do the yawn, and then I want you to stretch, and I mean really stretch, right? Noticing where you feel any tension in your body. Are we judging? Sarah, are we judging?
No. Sorry, I was in the middle of the yawn again. This
Okay,
really
I
triggered
just admit I
yawn.
might be judging Sarah a little bit. Somebody spam me some hearts. I feel like she's telling me I'm boring.
Not boring.
I'm just really relaxing.
It
Is
says
there
that I
a
trigger real ones.
relaxing button on there? What was this, peaceful button? No, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting crickets. Great. It's
Does that
fine.
mean you're boring?
No, it means I'm relaxing and making people yawn.
Okay.
So, if we're ready, back to our yawn and stretch. We're gonna add the yawn and then the stretch. Paying special attention to any tightness in your body, right? When you notice that as you're stretching through your body, I want you to say ease, right? So you're just saying out loud, had the now we're just gonna say ease, right? Focusing on that tension or tightness that you might be feeling. Even if you feel that tension and tightness in your emotional body, ease. Just bringing that kind of intention to your thoughts, right? So we've got the yawn. With that exhale. And then we're going to make a big stretch. So, we ready to practice? All right, let's take that yawn. Sarah's already got them.
Yep.
And stretch. Can't see our feet, but we're stretching. And ease. Take your time. I am. No hurry. Ease. Right? Now pause for me. Just notice what's happening in your body, what's happening in your mind. Just stay in this moment. Right? Now, we practiced once. Let's try it one more time. I know some judgments probably came in. Or maybe you didn't try it this time, but maybe just this once you are going to give it a try. So put it all together. Our first mindfulness technique of yawn and stretch. So ready? Let's bring that yawn in. And stretch. Gee. Pop. Ease. No judgment. Just ease. And just stay with that. Just for a moment. Just allow yourself to be relaxed and at ease with those two simple steps. So how are you feeling after that? Obviously relaxed you into a little bit of a yawn situation.
I actually did. I don't know. It just helps release some of the tension and stuff within the body, especially adding the stretch at the end.
And so with the stretch, we are loosening some of those muscles, giving some of those muscles some movement and some oxygen. So again, there is the science behind that. When we're bringing that breath in and we're using that yawn, we're slowing down that intake. And by adding that we're slowing down the exhale too. And so again, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to help any of those stressful things that are happening with your body. It just helps to bring you into this moment and bring down the body responses that are happening, right? So, not a hippie. I'm not trying to make you go to sleep. Some science for this mindfulness. Are we ready for our next one?
Right.
All right. I brought some special props for us to use on our next one. And so...
Oh boy, this is why they came. Great.
Wonderful. In the end, Sarah's going to thank me for this one. I know you will, for sure. So, I have my nice panda right here.
I have a wonderful, somewhat large elephant here.
Chose that special for Sarah, right? But this one is great. Now, I enjoy making Sarah somewhat uncomfortable, but I also don't want to make her too uncomfortable. So the next mindfulness piece that we're doing is called 3 hugs and 3 big breaths. Ideally, you might be hugging somebody. That's what we want. But if you just have a comforting stuffed animal of some sort, then that that will work for you to be able to ground too. But the thing that I love about 3 hugs and 3 breaths is that you making your 3 breaths can actually help ground somebody else, even if they aren't taking those 3 big breaths with you. So if my friend Panda was upset and I was using this just to comfort myself and Panda, then even without Panda doing anything, my 3 breaths would be helpful in grounding Panda. So I might need a little grounding. I can hear my mind wandering to whatever 2 lovely children are doing upstairs.
Hard telling.
They're great for added practice for mindfulness and meditation and yoga and just about everything. But so let's bring it back. 3 hugs and 3 big breaths. So what you're going to do is you're going to find your comfort, right? Whether this is a stuffed animal or a person, which a lot of feel-good chemicals actually release in the body. Did you know that with just a simple hug?
No.
They do. So it is a natural way to get, and you can look, there's science behind this physical contact with somebody else, even in just a hand, right? It releases some natural feel-good chemicals. So if you've got something other than your trusty stuffed animal, awesome. Being vulnerable and going for that hug, very important stuff. But even if you just have your stuffed animal, we're going to take that animal, give them a big hug, tight, nice big tight hug, and then we're going to take 3 big breaths. If you're with somebody, you'll do that together. So take a deep breath in. Big, fill up that belly, let it go. Again, breathe it in. And out. And again. Keep that hug. And out. Let's relax. So, take a moment. If you practice this with us, how does it feel? What happened? Do you notice when you were hugging, you were in that moment, right? You were focused on the breath, you were focused on what you were feeling, maybe even a sense of smell, right? There can be some comfort in that as well. So again, 3 hugs, 3 big breaths. That can really, again, bring us back to just a mindful moment. It doesn't even take that long. So of course we did it once. I want to do it again, right? This time when we go through, big breaths. Take a moment to really breathe deep. Feel the connection, right? With the stuffed animal, with the person. Feel the connection, feel the breath. So we're really working on that sense of feel, right? So let's bring that hug in tight, right? Big, good hug. Now let's take those breaths. Bring that breath in. Pause, hug tight. Now let go. Again, bring the breath in. Pause, hug tight, let go. Again, breath in. Pause, hug tight, let go.
Wait, no, stop. No,
All right. Notice how you're feeling. We might have slowed the breath down. We might have just helped that sense of safety and security with that hug as we brought whatever was in the mind, let it go, and came into this moment. What did you think of that one?
I liked it. I really didn't hear anything around me because I was so focused, I think, on the breath and the tightness at the same time.
Now, I think what Sarah is saying is really important, that she didn't notice really what was going on around her, which is very important kind of as we're bringing that mindfulness inside, kind of what we talked about. And it is important to say because my house, my home is like life. There is often a lot of chaos going on. And so we're not sitting silently in my dining room. Can clearly hear various activities happening upstairs, and who knows what it is.
We'll find out later.
And it will probably be a mess. But chaos was going on, and Sarah was still able to center and come to just that mindful moment. Which again, if we're able to bring ourselves to just these moments, we're going to bring down all of those automatic body responses with our heart rate, with our blood pressure, with racing thoughts. Will activate the parasympathetic nervous system and slow those things down, which is going to help us feel better. So we've got 2 things so far. Yawn and stretch. 3 big hugs, 3 breaths. Do you have a favorite so far?
I like the hugs.
I'm telling you, the hugs release those good chemicals, whether you were aware or not. Hopefully everybody learned something new. I'm going to let us set our lovely stuffed animals down. They are very nice to have.
Really soft.
Put Mr. Panda behind me. I did have to admit to, I did have a moment of giggles come in as I looked at the camera and I saw you hugging the big elephant, and I thought, perhaps I should put this as the cover.
We'll talk about that later.
You know, this one is not on our mindful list, but as we banter back and forth, and hopefully with all of our chaos and sometimes silliness, we make you smile, right?
Yep.
So if I even just pause you right now and we talk about these moments of mindfulness and you put a smile on your face, concentrate on the smile, feel the corners of your lips kind of coming up, right? And if you just pause with that smile, again, I challenge you to notice how just that simple movement can make you feel. Because you can do a smile just about anywhere, right? Even a small smile. The smile, similar to the hugs, actually also release a lot of natural feel-good chemicals in your body. And so that's another thing that you can do. Just being mindful of your body, of that smile, and helping you to center, bring on that sense of calm, and maybe happiness too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's something you can check out just as we keep going with our mindful moments, what that smile does. So the next one, again, is something that you can do just about anywhere. I know you might not want to hug everywhere. Probably in the middle of class, a yawn and stretch might not work so well. But this one is a simple thing that you can do with your hands. Have you ever done the feeling your hands technique, Sarah?
No.
All right, I won't make you leave that one then. So, feeling your hands. Now remember, you'll have some favorites, hopefully. Some that you're like, maybe not so much. But this one is very much tactile in its nature, right? And so what I'm going to have you do is lift up one of your hands. I don't care if it's your right or left. And then you're going to take the opposite hand, the index finger. And I just want you to trace the outside of your hand, right? You might also just kind of lower and close your eyes so that you're really able to focus on that sense of feeling. No hurries, right? Just move it along the outside of your finger. Just noticing. Noticing the ridges, the changes. Just the feel of your hand, soft or rough. Just gently glide along that perimeter of your hand. Notice what that feels like. And then when you're ready, you can switch. So going to the other hand. Just glide. Slow and steady. Feel your hand. Lower your eyes if you're comfortable closing your eyes. Just really challenging yourself to focus on your hand. Noticing. Feeling. Just feel. When you're ready, come back. What do you think of that one?
I was so focused on making sure I was moving and I didn't notice anything going on.
Well, did it interrupt thoughts, feelings? Did it really suck you into just this moment of feeling your hand?
Yeah.
Which again,
Baby, get out of that.
a simple thing that you can try just about anywhere, right? And so just a moment. That's all we're asking you to do today, is just kind of look at and cultivate just that moment, a moment of mindfulness. And so next one, clenching your fists and breathing into it.
This is the one we tried
This is
before,
the
right?
one we tried, yeah.
And this one was
So.
different. Yeah.
So this one also, again, very simple, but We're going to take our hand, fingers are going to go down, and thumb is going to go down, and you're going to make a fist, right, around that thumb. So they're pointed down. From here, we're going to take our fists up to our mouth, and we are going to just breathe through it. So tightly clenched fists to the mouth, and breathe. Again. One more breath. All right. Now we're going to switch it up. When you take those hands up, thumb up. Right? Make that fist. So thumb is up. We're just rotating so our fingers are more up. Clench that fist tight. And we're going to breathe again. So nice breath in and release out. Don't judgment, so I'll stop early. Again, one more time. What did you notice that time?
So that time, both of them, it's just nice. It's different to hear just like how the airflow stops as it continually gets lower when you run out of breath, because it allows you to focus on the sounds and just the feeling of it going through your hand too.
Right. I like that. Sarah's pointing out how we pulled in different senses, even though we were looking at the breath, right? Which we talked about the science behind why we have the breath work happen. But there was the sense of the sound that was coming out. Which can be very calming to be able to tune into. You could also feel the temperature, you know, if you're really in this moment, the temperature and how that breath felt as it was working through your hand. I don't know about you, but just the different ways that I was holding my hand, it was a little more difficult to get the breath. Like I had to work a little harder to push it through.
Yeah. And the sounds were different in both directions too.
It slowed me down a little bit more, which again is really helpful. But again, whatever I was thinking about, any stressors I had, concerns about what my kids are doing in this very moment, I was able to let that go just for that moment. Admittedly, my mind is wandering to the noises that are up there, but just for this moment, I was able to let that go and to just be in this mindful, more relaxed place, right? And I think that is a very helpful thing to be able to do. And so, now we have the raisins. We'll save that for last as a little what is coming tonight for our intuitive eating, right? But I want to come back to the breath. So we've had about 4 things, 5 if you count the smiling, I think. But now I just want to bring back to the simple breath, because I talk about that a lot. I feel like oftentimes it's kind of the prosaic thing that therapists ask you to do, just breathe. But again, hopefully if you're listening to all of our IGTVs and all the talking I do about that, there is more to breathing than just being a therapist, having you sit on our couches and saying, just breathe through it, right? There's a science behind it, because we are activating your parasympathetic nervous system when we ask you to just breathe. And that is what's going to bring down what's happening with those automatic responses in your sympathetic nervous system. So when you get stressed, when things start feeling chaotic, when all those emotions are going through, if we can just activate that parasympathetic nervous system, we're going to bring down that fight or flight response, right? If we can do this activation, even just like 5 minutes every day, then over a longer period of time, we're going to bring down the kind of the intensity, the level of that sympathetic nervous system's response. And so you'll see things like your heart rate kind of go down, your blood pressure will go down, just over a longer period of time. Those responses will decrease. And so there's a lot behind the breath. And we kind of pulled that into most of what we did today, with the yawning, with the hugging, with our fists, right? And so now I just want to bring it back to 1 minute of mindful breathing. I should have had you bring your phone so that we could actually time 1 minute. In fact, that's right behind you. So we're going to time it, right? Now, I will say as a yoga instructor, one of the funniest positions and one of the most difficult positions for me to have people come into is final relaxation, which seems counterintuitive to doing yoga, but people struggle to just be. And so we're going to try this for a minute. Now, if you're trying this with us and you can't focus on your breath for a minute, the mindfulness police will come and get you. Sorry.
She's kidding.
I am kidding.
She just
They're
likes
not.
to be funny.
I am funny.
You
What do
are
mean?
funny.
So, your mind is going to wander. Mine is going to wander. And I try to encourage people to do this, and I try to live by it. My mind will wander. That's okay. Remember, mindfulness is not about judgments. Notice when your mind is wandering, and then try to bring yourself back to this. Maybe today, you're going to be able to get through 10 seconds. All right, maybe 15. Maybe you'll continue to grow this until you can reach a minute, right? But let's just try starting at a minute and seeing what that feels like. I'm going to kind of guide you a little bit through this. If you can imagine, I won't be quiet and stop talking. That's okay, right? But I just want you to focus on a few things.
Reminder, there'll be a timer at the end, so don't jump out of your chair, as I'm sure I will.
Isn't that a nice little thing? That's how we usually.
Well, it's on the radar right now. I want to change it.
That sounds scary.
I know, I'm trying to. I was going to change it to Harry Potter, but I'm not
I
finding
feel
it.
like that would be a little more relaxing.
I'm not finding it.
That's okay. We're not judging the radar, the scary sound that's going to come out. But all right. So if we're breathing for our moment, this one that was somewhat startling.
I know, I'm trying
It's
to.
okay. We're going to find ourselves in a comfortable place. You know, we might be sitting, we might be standing, wherever that is. Just take a moment to settle into your body. If you're comfortable, again, glancing down, maybe even closing your eyes, right? And just start to tune into that breath. So begin to just feel that breath as it comes in through your nose. Feel it as you breathe out. Maybe even notice as your body starts to relax. Shoulders sliding into the back pockets. And breathe. Breathe in, gently allowing that breath to flow. Feeling it in your nose, traveling to your lungs. Maybe even further into your belly. And then release, noticing from your belly, through the lungs, and out your nose. Just notice your breath. Maybe the temperature as it comes in, and as it goes out. Just notice. And then come back to us, opening those eyes. Was that really just a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Good grief, I could have gone for longer.
Me too.
I don't know how you all felt with that. That just means we should do breath work another time, as long as everybody's feeling it, right? So 5, 6 things with the smiles.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any favorites that,
I still like the hugs.
the hugs?
Probably the hugs, and then what's the other one? The yawn one just kind of made me yawn realistically, so we're not gonna go with that one.
Was that relaxing?
It was very relaxing. So maybe at the end of the evening I'll try that to like decompress after the day, especially.
Mm-hmm. Sarah has a good point. It's good to have these in your toolbox to use whenever you might need them, but it's also really good to practice them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even having that specific time of day where you want to try to cultivate your practice of mindfulness. whether that's in the morning, maybe midday, maybe before bed, as Sarah was saying with the yawn and stretch piece, right? But trying to make this something that you are intentionally trying to grow and develop. Mindfully hear my dog alerting me. Probably that Jim is home because they don't alert me to unknown presences. You know, we're mindfully bringing it back to just this moment with what we're talking about. And the chaos that goes on in the home. But one of the important things that I want to say about practicing is, even if we think about building muscle memory, and I use this analogy a lot, if you think about a basketball player who is in a championship game and they're at the top of the key and they're going to make that winning basket, there is a lot of pressure going on emotionally, especially at that point in time. But if that player has practiced that shot over and over, they have a higher likelihood of making that because there is muscle memory, and they're going to have more ability to then be able to manage what's happening emotionally. And the same is true for what we're talking about when we're discussing just cultivating and growing the mindfulness, and we'll move more into some of the meditative parts as well. But starting out slow with us, practice these things until we see you next week, and we'll add more to your toolbox to be able to practice. But give these things a chance and see what really speaks to you. You'll notice some things, like I said, work and some things don't, and that's okay. We're all unique in our experiences, right? I happen to like the hug part too. I have to admit, whenever I give somebody a hug, like I go in there and I give it like this extra little squeeze just so I know I'm connecting and that person knows that they're connecting. And again, there are all those feel-good chemicals, right? So having that little panda to hug is pretty awesome. I probably should have made Bella and Danny come down here too, but Danny gets a little protective about
Hugs.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm his
especially
mommy.
when
He's not into sharing so much. We'll cultivate that at a later point in time.
Well, I think another important thing is just it's a couple of minutes of your day to practice this, and how important it is that you do practice it.
I do agree. Again, we're starting out slow. We're starting out small. These just took a moment to be able to do with us, right? And so trying just to allow yourself that moment to maybe try something new, to keep growing a practice, but allowing yourself that moment to take care of you right now, and hopefully in the future, since this is what we're working on, right? And so this video will post live to our IG, not live, it'll post to our IGTV, not live.
We are live.
We're live now, but it won't be when it posts,
Right.
But the great thing is that we know you love us, right? We're telling ourselves that you really enjoy these things, but you have 5 moment mindfulness techniques that you can come back into our IGTV and watch, just in case you forget them, just in case you want a little refresher. Just come back and view us again. We are here all the time now, right?
5 days a week.
So please be sure that you're coming back and using these things. I will also take a moment. I didn't go to the raisins, but that's okay.
Another day.
Well, tonight. We'll be using them tonight.
Oh.
So tonight we have a special live event coming at 8 p.m. and this is about intuitive eating. And so we're going to be using a lot of mindfulness, thoughts, activities, ideas as we talk about intuitive eating. I don't know about you all, but there have been a lot of memes, a lot of attention, even as I watch different things on TV, but a lot of attention being brought to our bodies, the amount of food we're eating or not eating, and so I thought it was pretty important if we just talk about intuitive eating. And so we'll be using some raisins for that. So I'll just leave you with a to be continued on mindful eating with our raisins, right? So hopefully if you have time, you can join us for that, or again, that will post and you can always check back with that later. But the great thing about mindfulness, and I'll talk about this tonight, is that we were all born knowing what our bodies need. It's just a matter of being able to get back to it, right? And so you've got 5 just moment mindfulness techniques to bring into your week going forward. Remember, try it out. Give yourself a little bit of time just to take care of you. Probably time for us to be mindful about what my children are doing upstairs. It sounds like a herd of cattle.
Elephants.
Whatever it might be. But if you need anything from us, remember you can always make some comments. We'll check in with that. But other than that, have a wonderful rest of your Monday. We will be back tomorrow for some yoga.
maybe outside, just depends on what the weather is like.
If it is too cold, my body will mindfully reject that for the feeling of warmth. But hopefully we see you tonight at 8 p.m. for the intuitive eating, right? And if not, tomorrow at 4 for more yoga. Remember, we are here 5 days a week, 4 o'clock for all of our lives. Even though classes have paused for right now, we're still going. So we'll see you back maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. But keep practicing mindfulness and meditation. Bye.
Bye, guys.